especially when you reheat it. It doesn't taste like rice, so nobody go buy cauliflower rice expecting it to taste like rice. It doesn't.
It does not taste like rice.
You know the old adage of where somebody says, don't take advice from somebody that hasn't been there or hasn't done that or isn't in the spot where you want to be, right? Well, today's guest is a perfect example of somebody you should take advice from. But before we get into all that, of course, I got a bunch of shit I got to tell you about. This is one of two different types of episodes I have within the show. It's a long version. I got a guest or two on. Today, got Harvey. We get into all sorts of different subjects. And then on opposite weeks, it's just me, this microphone, y'all listening, and whatever's on my mind. I go live on Facebook and YouTube with those types of episodes. Been having a real good time. Would love for you to join me. Everything you need to know about the show is on the old website, brawpodcast.com. Merch, sign up for the weekly newsletter. Let's see what else is on there. Other shows I've been on. Anything you really need to know about the show is over there, brawpodcast.com. All right, hear me out, man. I am a one-man band over here. I do all the stuff here, creating this platform, and I love it. This is not a complaint, but I would love for you to help me out. All right? It's not money. Wait a minute. If you want to send me money, that's awesome. But no, I don't want your money. What I'm looking for is something much more precious, and that's your time. I appreciate the time out of your busy schedule. You all listening to what I have to say and what guests I bring on, which is near and dear to my heart. But I'm asking for a little more of that precious time. Go on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Write a review, 5-star rating, subscribe, like. Makes you laugh, makes you cry, makes you get you all pissed off, whatever. Any of those feelings make you feel alive, so that makes me happy. But if you like what I'm got going on here, tell a friend or 7. And I can't go any further without mentioning the couple companies that I've been with me since the beginning. I love them. I use them on the regular because I just love supporting small business. First up, Charmaine and the crew down in Arizona, Live Rishi. Rishi Rub is a staple in my gym bag. Use the code TABLE50 and you're going to get 50% off your entire order. And then I got Craig over at High Speed Daddy. I love the gear. I have now taken my son's diaper bag and now I've put 40 pounds worth of sand in it. Sandbags. I just didn't dump 40 pounds of sand in it. But I got 40 pounds of weight in it, and I use that to ruck when I walk. Lots of good stuff with Charmaine and Craig. I would love for you to jump down there in the show notes, of course, and give them just a ton of shit for me when you talk to them. All right, let's get on to this show. We're coming right up, Harvey. Like I said before, if you want some advice or want some inspiration, I always recommend looking up to somebody who's either done it or is doing it in the spot that you want to be. And Harvey is there. Now, the story behind him dropping an incredible amount of weight and keeping it off and living an amazing lifestyle is one for the books. But as always, I'm going to let him tell you all about it. Let's get to it. Gotta talk shit, dude. Can't be sitting here all nice.
Right, for sure.
Route 80. So it's a major highway, obviously, heading out west here in Jersey. Well, it goes through, I don't know how many towns. New Jersey is crazy because our towns are so close together. You know what I mean? It's just fucking insane.
Yeah, it's just one big town.
What's that?
It's just one big town, basically.
Yeah. Let me just do this. I don't know. I just thought of that Instagram thing kind of off the whim. I wanted to try it. Well, New Jersey is basically a swamp. Everything's built on a swamp. Well, just outside of the swamp, there was a lot of mining being done back in the day. Well, then they just go and fill it with a bunch of shit, build a highway over it. And then we had some earthquakes not too long ago, some big ones. Like it rattled the dishes in my house.
Wow.
And apparently that did something to the sinkholes because all of a sudden they started popping off, dude. And they did a scan of the road. They went over it like with a plane and scanned it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're going to be working on this for the next 10, 15 years, man.
That's crazy.
So going back to the taxes thing, how many no-show jobs and how many people are going to get fucking loaded rich off this project?
Sure. Yeah.
Holy
well, and the thing about it is, it's like anytime, we don't really chase government work, but I've been around it enough to know that it costs twice as much and it takes twice as long to get a government job done as it does something in the private sector, at least.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just treat it like they treat the budget like a blank checkbook. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter what it costs because they're not responsible for it. Like they don't have to answer to it.
Right. They didn't work and build the budget. Right. So their hard work didn't create the budget. So there's no value in it. Now I play a lot of cards. I play poker a lot. And when I was coming up, kind of learning how to play, I would go to these free games like bar games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found out quickly was when there's no value on what you have to lose, then there's like, yeah, I'll just do this. It costing me nothing. I'll just do this. So I imagine those people are doing the same thing. Well, it ain't my fucking money. They ain't my money. Write a check. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, and that's what people kind of give me a hard time sometimes on the weight loss coaching. It's like, well, why? You should just do that for free. I'm like, I tried that. You give people, I can literally sit down and give people every bit of information that they need, and they won't do anything with it.
Oh yeah, no. Well, who was it that's really famous for it? Gary Vee. He said, I can give you everything I know, give you everything I know, lay it all out, and I know you're not going to do anything with it.
Yep. That's why he does it. I mean, he gives away everything. You can build a multi-million-dollar business just by listening to his podcast or, whatever social media. He gives everything away.
Well, you got to put the work in, dude.
That's the key. I mean,
what? I got to work? God. What?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, It's funny that you say that. I was actually just editing a reel I made. I was listening to Joe Rogan. He just had Chris Williams on last week. I
like that dude. I'm about halfway through.
Yeah, and he talked about, they brought up Ozempic, and Chris was like, by the way, what happened to body positivity? And I had actually just written out a kind of a general script for talking about the same thing. Like all of these overweight, fat celebrities were like championed. Yeah, you're so brave. You're fat. Own that. Yeah, you should be proud of that. But then when Ozempic comes along, it's like, oh, they're so brave for finally facing their problems and taking on this challenge with weight loss. And I'm like, wait a minute. First off, they were brave for staying fat and being proud of it. And now that the weight loss is easy, they're brave for facing that problem. But it wasn't a problem of like the circular logic that we are pushed, and it's both sides, obviously, but just from the media in general, like the narrative is so backwards. Every time that something changes, they just change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stay true to the story. They just change the narrative to fit the current events. And people like, I'm not demonizing Ozempic, because there's a lot of people that benefit from it. It's just the fact that we were preached for, it was 10, 15 years of body positivity and love your body just the way you are. But now that the weight loss is easy, they're celebrated for losing the weight. And I'm like, why would they not have been celebrated to lose the weight the old-fashioned way? Like, well, walking around obese is not healthy. Like that's just period. End of story.
Well, dude, you were going to say the hard way. You were going to say the hard way.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, though, isn't it much sweeter when you work for it?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think for those type of people, and that may come off wrong, but I think some people just care about the result. They don't care how they have to attain it. As long as they have the result, and really the one thing that Chris brought up was like it makes people that are thin or in shape more mad than it does overweight people, because I had to work for this. Like I put 2 years of diet and exercise and learning nutrition, and they can still live the same life and just take the shot. Well, I don't hate them. Like, hey, whatever. It's not the individual doing it that I have the issue with. It's the message of body positivity, love yourself the way you are. But then once it's easy and those people are just taking the easy way out, they're celebrated for it. And that's the problem that I have with it. I think it's great, honestly, for the individual, because whatever it takes to start living a healthier life, you're less of a burden on society, you're less of a burden on your family, you live a better quality of life. So, hey, whatever it takes to get the results. But I don't think that those type of people, if they appreciated the hard way of doing it, they probably would have done it beforehand. And I don't know what that mentality is, that lack of appreciation of going through hard stuff. And, when I weighed 350 pounds, like I still worked my ass off. My first job when I was 15 was busting up rocks with a sledgehammer. Like, I'm not afraid of hard work. I never have been. But it was just something that I really didn't prioritize. I didn't understand the ramifications of it. I just wasn't aware of it.
Now you're talking. You weren't aware of weight loss and like what you're doing.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of. I was aware of how it made me feel personally, about how bad I felt about myself, but I wasn't really aware of the societal ramifications of it, I guess you could say. I wasn't really aware that I was leading my kid to be the same way. I wasn't fully aware of why it was causing issues in my marriage, just because I wasn't happy with myself. And the more that she tried to love me, and the more that she tried to tell me that I was good enough for her the way that I was, because I know I wasn't. Like it caused me to pull back the harder that she would push, because you can't receive love if you don't love yourself.
100%.
The more she pushed, the further I would push back, and harder that I would try to push away from her, because I couldn't accept it. And then, you go into the career aspect of it. Like I said, I always worked hard, and I just thought, well, I'll outwork anybody. Like, I'm not scared of hard work. I'll put in the hours. I'll do the labor, whatever it takes. But I never realized, like, when you walk into a meeting with a new customer, or if you're to go into a job interview, and you've never met that person on the other side of that desk before, and you're up against somebody that does make their health a priority, whether you're a more qualified person than that other guy or not, the other guy's going to get a nod, because he visibly shows that he's got what it takes to be disciplined, for delayed gratification, for putting in some hard work, and I just never put that type of thought into it. I didn't understand it.
Well, I mean, carrying, like, we'll just talk about men, right? I mean, women are probably the same, but us as men, when you're in good shape, and you're in good shape, one, like you just said, you feel good about yourself. Like, I feel good about myself. And I walk around, and I'll tell you about my experience since the last time we talked, but I just feel good. So when I walk into a room, going to what you just said, in my job, I meet people for the first time all the time. And the one guy, not too long ago goes, "Man, when you walked in here, you move air, dude, when you come in here." And I'm like, yeah, well, of course I start talking shit to him.
Right, yeah.
But it's like, no, man, just command presence. But
it's an energy.
You got to be comfortable in your own skin to have command presence.
Exactly.
And your ability. And your ability, right?
Yeah, I would walk into a room and, like, try to find, where can I get in a corner? Where can I try to hide? And it's not, because life is a mirror. It's not a window. Even if those people that you're meeting with don't have the same thoughts that you have about yourself, that's all you can hear. That's all you can feel. anytime somebody looks at you, you're judging yourself, so you automatically think everybody else is judging you. So you try to hide in the corner, I don't want to be the center of attention. And of course, when I was raised, it wasn't good for kids to be the center of attention anyway. So it just kind of compounded that whole self-consciousness. But yeah, it's an energy when you walk. I tell people, like, walk into a room like God sent you in there.
Yeah, own it.
Walk in with your chest out, and that's not an ego thing. Like it's just a self-respect thing.
Yeah,
like, and a confidence. Like, I know I'm the best at what I do in this business, and I know that I've been in this thing for almost 20 years now. Like, there's not much that I haven't seen. There's not much that I haven't done. There's not really anything that I can't help you out with. So I own that.
Well, and the other thing too is what you have in your personal life obviously carries into your business life, right?
Right.
I think that's tough to compartmentalize. So when I had a great career in Colorado, but I was unhappily married, like really unhappily married. So obviously I was not happy at work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people can be like, yeah, I can split it and, leave that at home. Bullshit, you can. Dude, you carry that with you. I don't care who you are. You carry it with you. And then, but it goes the other way around.
Exactly.
If you're confident, like right now, my home life's in high gear, dude. I mean, life is great. My wife's kicking ass, her job. We're doing great. I mean, we always, we're married, so we have ups and downs, but
right.
Our downs are nowhere near is what some people that I talk to are down. But we handle it. We're married. We're partners. We handle what comes about. But like right now, things are high geared. Boy, man, like Sunday, I had such a great day. We were talking about being in shape. I thought my cardio was on point, bud. My 4-year-old son was like, we're going to the park. I was teaching him how to ride a bike. Cool. Everything. We had a good time. That was amazing to watch him learn how to pedal and stuff. Mm-hmm. He's like, let's go to the park. I said, okay, we're going to the park. And he's like, Dad, can we play a game? Sure, dude. What's up? What do you want to play? Tag. Fuck. All right. Yeah. I guess we'll play tag.
Yeah.
So me talking shit, I'm like, what do we do with tag? He's like, all right, one person's it, and we got to chase each other around and try to catch each other and this, that, and the other. So we get on the playground. I go, how do we start? And he goes, I don't know. I reach over and I push him over and I go, tag, you're it. And I take off. So he comes running after me. The problem is with me, my size, I can't fit through most of the playground. So I go up and over it. Right. And he comes through it. So I'm doing like parkour shit. And I'm like, dude, I lasted about 45 minutes and my lungs were on fire. My heart, I mean, it literally felt like my lungs were burning inside my chest, which they probably were.
Right.
So he's like, all right, we're going to keep playing. I go, no, we got to go home. Why? We got shit to do. I had to pull the dad card. I'm like, we got to go, bro.
Right.
So we get up we ran into the field. We tackled each other and stuff. And so we're getting up. And I said, I'll race you to the bathroom. Cause he's like, I got to the bathroom. I said, all right, I'll race you to the bathroom. He goes to run. And I go, no, dude, you can't cheat. And I trip him and push him over. And I start running to the bathroom. So we had a good time. But anyway, going to that though. So having days like that, which are most of the time, life is good at home. You're carrying that wherever you go, just like you would if it was shitty at home.
Right.
Right. So now that confidence carries. Now, if you're 350 pounds and your wife is saying she loves you, again, going to what you said, it's perfect. I've been there too. You're like, no, man, fuck. She's just saying that because she's being nice. Fuck you. Get away from me. You're carrying that, but you're carrying that at work too.
Yep.
Right. And your kids see that, and it's not.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what, like, you talked about being able to run with your 4-year-old. When my kid was 4, I wouldn't even play tag with him. Like, there was no chance of that happening. It might be, I might be where I'll sit down and reach out and tag him back before he can get far enough away from me where I can't reach him.
Right.
But as far as actually getting up and chasing him, like it wasn't happening.
Well, and I saw a post. This guy, he's funnier. He's funny. He talks wicked shit about fitness, and he's ripped, But he's like a 25. He's an older dad and stuff like that. But his physique is not like ours. He's like not skinny, but he's not built. But he's just
bulky,
fucking shredded,
Yeah.
And he always talks some cool stuff. And I answered one of his questions on a post one time, and I get kicked off the internet for 30 days because I was inciting violence.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "What's your goal? What's your fitness goals with your kid?" And I go, "To be able to kick his ass for the next 25 years in anything that we do."
Right.
Bam! You're inciting violence. No, I'm not.
Right.
But he said, I love this post. He said, how'd he say it? Don't be that dad that says, "Hey, back in the day, I was able to bench 315.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I could do this." No, be the dad that's doing it now.
Right.
And it was just really cool to have it said like that. Right.
Right.
So that's my goal, is just to be able to play tag with him for as long as possible,
Yep, for sure.
and run around and do things like that. But that post, I answered your post on the diet. I always knew diet was, your health is in the kitchen, not in the gym, dude.
Right.
We all know that,
Well,
right?
your weight is in the kitchen.
Okay. All right.
Exercise is great for your health.
But your weight is in the kitchen.
Your weight is going to be not strictly, but 70, 80% of your daily calories burned, or 70, 80% of your weight is based off your caloric intake.
Right. Sure. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I was toying around with the carnivore diet for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of my diet's protein anyway. I mean, that's just the way I grew up, and there was a couple things that was slowing me down. One was cost, right? I mean,
mm-hmm.
And then the other one was like strictness, I guess, would be the word I want to use. Like, I want to talk to people. I want to listen to people. I want to see like how strict you got to be on this thing, right?
Yeah.
To receive benefits and, normal things. So I was toying with it and listening to, Rogan talks about it. Some other guys were talking about it. And I know, Harvey, this is like completely hard to understand for most people. I even did some research and listened and talked to people that were against it.
Right.
And it's like, "Hey, man, what's your point? I want to hear. Obviously, I want to see how you got to this point. Like, what happened, or, I want to see that stuff."
Right.
And the two things that happened within like 2 days. I went to play poker, and there was this guy that I haven't seen in a long time. A big, fat dude, super nice guy, but big Italian dude. And I walked in, dude, and he looked like you. And I went, "What the fuck, dude? Did you get sick?" Like, right. I asked him, I go, "Are you sick?" Like, "Look, you look great. Like, your skin looked good." He didn't look sick, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's like, "No, bro. 6 months I've been on the carnivore diet. Lost 111 pounds."
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, he just looked great. And I was like, "No shit." So I get talking to him. And I said, "Well, the thing I got, like, how strict are you on it?" And he goes, "What I like about it is," he's in the concrete business. He goes, "I went down to Atlantic City for a conference for 4 days, and I ate like a normal person." Now, at that point, I've been on the carnivore diet for like 4 months, hardcore. And ate like a normal person, came back and just started again. Wasn't even a blip in my radar. And I went, I was thinking, like, go on vacations and stuff. I want to have a good time,
Right.
And then I was thinking the cost, And my sister-in-law has been on it for like, at this time that I'm talking about, 6 months. And I said, cost. And she goes, what I found out, it's about the same, maybe just a hair more, because you're not buying all these expensive vegetables and fruits and shit that you only eat half of it and then you throw them away anyway, because half of them go rotten, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow. So I bought an eighth of a cow to start, and I went hardcore for 2 months. Dude, amazing. Nothing but good stuff. If I had to complain, if I had anything, because people, you're like, hey, what's the downside? One, you got to cook every single meal. Like, you have to prepare every single meal.
Yeah, there's a guy that I follow on Instagram that's all he does is eat raw meat.
Oh man. I'm good with meat, but raw meat. And then the other thing is, I drink about 3 liters of water a day. Mm-hmm. So I take 1 liter, and I found out that I had to put some electrolytes in it. Mm-hmm. Other than that, dude, it's just fucking meat and eggs, steaks, hamburger. Hamburger's my staple. And I got, when I went through that eighth of a cow in no week. Yeah. So we bought more. And the guy said, he goes, I got an older cow. The meat's good, but it's a little fatty. And I said, I'll take it. And he gave me a little bit of discount, stuff like that. Right. And that's been proven, that's been doing me well because it's got a little more fat in it. I don't put as much butter in it because it's got more fat in it. But I just season it with like the Celtic sea salt. I put a little herb de ponce on it, whatever that's called. Dude, life is good. And I'm on the road. I drive a truck. And I was eating, like, I know that you can't eat fucking McDonald's and Wendy's and shit. I mean, that's just garbage, right? And so I would stop at a convenience store and get like beef jerky. I'm like, that'll hold me over. Well, the Snickers bar looks pretty good. Well, those Reese's look pretty good. And then by the end of the week, I've had 5 or 6 candy bars, and with eating the way I do now, it's in my truck. Like, I put it in a little container. I come out of the gym. I have an egg and a little bit of meat. It sits right in my truck. I go without till like 1 o'clock. I eat the rest of it, which is a little over a pound plus a egg. And then I don't eat again until 6:30 with the family. Right. And what it eliminate was snacking. That's what I had to get rid of, was the snacking, because it was potato chips and candy bars and shit like that. I had to get rid of that stuff, man. Right. I call it a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and really so what I'm hearing is you're in a calorie deficit because you're not snacking on the highly processed, high fat, high carb snacks. And you probably would have gotten the same results if you had done a regular, well-balanced diet. It's just what fits your lifestyle. I'm of the camp that you really need carbs if you're going to try and build muscle, because that's what fuels your muscles, carbohydrates.
Right.
I think glycogen is good for, that's what fuels your muscles back up. That's what you get from carbohydrates. But at the end of the day, what can you stick to long term? I don't want to give up carbs, and you don't have to. So I just eat a little bit of everything. I figure out what fits for me. So people that love carnivore and that they get long-term results, I have started noticing a lot of the main really heavy carnivore preaching lifestyle guys have started adding fruits and vegetables and stuff into their diet because they've been having complications from carnivore. So that may be something I'll try and look and see what that, like the main, not Liver King, but there's another guy that was like really big. He wrote like 2 or 3 books on carnivore, and now he's went back to adding fruits and to his diet just because he was starting to have some long-term complications. But like I said, it's just what can you stick to long-term?
Yeah. And what I like,
if you want to lose weight, you've got to be in a calorie deficit. If you want to gain weight, you got to be in calorie surplus. It doesn't matter what those calories are. At the end of the day, your weight is strictly determined on calories in versus calories out.
Yep. Well, talk about calorie deficit. The benefits so far to me were the immediate benefits was how well I slept at night, dude.
Yeah.
Man, sleep like a rock.
Right.
And then no inflammation, obviously, for obvious reasons, right? You get rid of all that processed stuff. I mean, zero inflammation. This is the first time since my back surgery in 2016 that my back has not been inflamed. So I like that. But also this weekend, you know, my wife and I went on a date night. We went to a restaurant and there was no windows, no ceiling for me. We were just pigging out and we were having a good time. And,
right.
And then Saturday night we crashed in front of the couch and watched a show that we like to watch, and I had some fucking Ben and Jerry's, you know, and it's like going back to what you said though, it's what fits your lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. And what you can hang on to. And I'm realizing that the way my life runs during the day and the availability that I have, right, and what I have to quote unquote pack to maintain a good eat, right? I mean, of course I can bring a fucking bag of Doritos and a 2-liter Mountain Dew. That's easy, right?
Right.
But I agree with you. But the other thing is what you were saying with carbohydrates. What I've noticed too is my size is not changed much, but just shredded.
Yeah. Well, notice I said build muscle. If you've already got the muscle built, it's easier to maintain when you're doing the carnivore style, eating style.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. If you're small and you don't have much muscle mass, it's going to be really hard to build that muscle because the protein is going to repair it, but the carbohydrates, it's literally what hydrates your muscles. So if you take this bottle and you squeeze all of the air out of it, that's what your muscle's like without carbohydrates. But when you fuel it up, this is a terrible bottle to use that as an example. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
When you fill it up with carbs, that's your muscles back full again.
So where does creatine play in that?
It's the same thing. It aids with that.
It aids with it, right?
Right. Yeah, it kind of helps take that water because that's what creatine does. You will gain a little bit, like very, very minimal weight if you start taking creatine because it helps hold that water in your muscle fibers.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing I like about creatine, what I've noticed is it sharpens me a little bit in the old noggin. I can definitely tell if I'm off it for a couple of days compared to when I'm on it regularly.
Right.
And I didn't know that about creatine. It never even crossed my mind. And of course, what do? Geez, take some personal responsibility. And I did a little bit of looking into it. And I know it's hard for people to believe, and it said one of the, obviously maintaining size or helping with your muscle mass. But then the other big thing was cognitive. And I thought that was pretty cool because I experienced that without knowing that that's what it did. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like a placebo effect.
Right.
Yeah. But weight loss is just, I don't know, man. I've really come to appreciate it and seeing the benefits of it, creating an eating plan like I have.
Yep.
And sticking with it, right? Because it's not going to happen in a week. Sure, did I see almost immediate effects? Absolutely. The sleeping and the inflammation, that was within a couple days.
Right.
But then in like the second week, I was standing in my living room at like 3:30 in the afternoon, kind of freaking out because the amount of energy that I had.
Right.
I'm just sitting here going, what's going on here? I'm not used to having this type of energy. Like it wasn't like a caffeine energy, but it was like it was a fun energy to have. I don't know if that does that make sense. It was cool. And then what I find out is like 4:30, pop right out of bed when my alarm goes off, have consistent energy during the day. But dude, I'm telling you, by 9:30 at night, it's like a light switch. At like 9:30, quarter at 10, I'm out, dude. I'm out. Don't try to talk to me. Yeah. What's 2 + 2, Walt? Huh? What? What'd you say?
Yeah.
But I can just see the benefits, but I also see the fucking work that it takes. Even for me, which my willpower and my work ethic are tight. And there's days I'm like, what the fuck am I doing this? What? Fuck, I forgot to cook my lunch. Fuck, it's 10, quarter after 10, and I'm at the kitchen cooking meat for the next day. You know, and but then you see it, and then it just, you know, that compounding stuff that you see, right? And then your wife grabs you, and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Ooh, hey, baby," you know,
right?
So, I mean, being a trophy husband's tough, bro. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I gotta give my wife arm candy, so you know, I gotta stay in shape.
Yeah,
I love that, man. Usually catches people off guard, but
I'm a huge proponent of meal prepping and planning ahead and it has to be something that you like because I tried salads for like a month, you know, chicken salad, not like a salad with chicken in it, not like a chicken salad like the tuna salad type thing, but just a salad with chicken on it. Man, I hate salads. I would eat it I would make myself eat it for like the first day or two, but for sure by Wednesday I was throwing it in the trash and I was just going to get something to eat.
Yeah.
So if you meal prep, so we did 75 hard in August, started in August, and it was a little bit before that I had started eating the same thing for lunch, and I ate that same thing for lunch up until about maybe 2 months ago. So I don't know, 5-6 months that I ate the same thing for lunch every day. And it was just like a fajita type thing that I used cauliflower rice and chicken breast and then peppers and onions and fajita seasoning and some low carb tortillas. And I have some cottage cheese that I put some diced jalapenos and like a spicy ranch packet, you know, the seasoning packet in there.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like I'll eat it every day. So if you find something that you like, and something that's easy to prepare. Like when I'm on my, I want to get meal prepping done as fast as possible and make it as simple. I can have everything that I'm going to eat for breakfast, after workout, lunch, and mid-afternoon snack for a whole week in an hour tops.
Nice. Now, when you prep for, say you're doing it Sunday night, but you're prepping Thursday's meal. By the time you get it on Thursday, is it soggy? Do you see any difference compared to
but like right now, it's super basic. I do a bag of cauliflower rice. I do about 6 ounces of 97%, 97.3 ground turkey, and then I do a bag of sweet potatoes. And the cauliflower rice and the sweet potatoes are just steamed. So I just steam them as I'm cooking my meat. Meat's cooked. I do take all the cauliflower rice and I cut slits in the top of the bag, and I'll take something flat and mash all the water out of it. You know, because it'll have, there won't be very much left in that bag by the time you squish all the water out of it. It's mostly water. But that makes it really almost more of a rice consistency, especially when you reheat it. It doesn't taste like rice, so nobody go buy cauliflower rice expecting it to taste like rice. It doesn't.
It does not taste like rice.
But it's very filling. A whole bag of it is 60 calories. And you get your
carbs out of it.
Yeah, well, really, 4 grams of carbs per, so it's like 15 grams of carbs. There's not much to it at all. but it takes on whatever you put in it, right? So whatever seasoning that you like, put it on there, and it really soaks in that seasoning flavor. So it gives whatever flavor you put on it.
That's cool. And then so like
no, go ahead.
When you prep the meal, though, do you make like the heat out of it, or do you have all the toppings like in one little bowl, and then you wrap up the tortillas separate, and then you put it together?
Yeah. So I have I'll just have the meat and the peppers cooked on top of the cauliflower rice in a bowl, and then throughout the week, I just heat the bowl up, warm up the tortillas, and just mix them right there.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I do the same. My go-to is a fatty beef, just ground beef. Mm-hmm. I season it again with Celtic salt and some onion powder and the herb de Ponce or whatever you call it. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. And then what I do is, put some butter in the pan. I use a skillet, fry them up, and then I make patties, but once they're about done, I chop them in half, like with the spatula. Mm-hmm. And then I throw them on a newspaper, paper towel, let it soak a little bit, because all the shit in it. And then I just got a little bucket, a little container, a little over a pound of that in there. I try to throw in 3-4 strips of bacon or some pepperoni or something to like pop your taste buds a little, and just. Right. And then what I've been doing with them that's really cool is I'll take a little bit of a pound of ground beef and I'll take a half a pound of ground up sausage, and I'll mix them together and then make the patty so the sausage is in with the hamburger. Oh, that's so tasty, dude. And I throw a couple eggs in there, and that's all I'll eat all day until dinner. Right.
So how are you prepping your eggs? Are you hard boiling them or?
You ever hard boil them in the Instapot? You ever do that? So here's the trick, dude. You throw our Instapot, I imagine everybody's does, has a little rack that goes in it that keeps things off the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm. Now you talking Instapot or air fryer?
Instapot.
Okay.
All right. So cup of water, put the rack in there. Dozen eggs on high for 8 minutes, right? Now, here's the true hack. As soon as it's done, like you don't let it go to low, like it'll beep and be done. You got a bowl with ice water in it. Mm-hmm. Release the pressure instantly. Dump them sons of bitches in the ice water. And then I put them back in the container, put them in the fridge. And then I peel them the night before and then add them to my stuff. But the shell falls right off them if you dunk them in ice water when you're done. Yeah. I'll
take them and I'll pop the top, like I guess the top and the bottom, and then put them on a table and roll them back and forth, and it'll just fall right off.
Yep. I crack it on the table and over the garbage. I'll squeeze it with my thumbs and it just kind of shatters and it falls off. Yeah. Instapot's amazing, dude. I put 4 pounds of chicken in there today for 12 minutes, threw some seasoning in there with some chicken broth. Oh, so tasty.
Wow.
Yeah. Our Instapot runs just about every day. My wife's Korean, dude. She cooks in the Instapot forever. Okay. Yeah. She just throws shit in the Instapot and is like, I'm going to throw it on high for 12 minutes and see what happens. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what we're having for dinner.
Yeah.
Of course, she knows what she's doing, but that's what it looks like to me. She's just like blindly throwing shit in there. But meal prep, dude, you can't deny it. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Having your lunch ready. Do you wear a uniform at work? Okay. So I wear a uniform at work. It's a polo shirt and I wear cargo shorts. And having your meals prepped and done is what I call the uniform syndrome. Now, you ain't got to think about it during the day. Now you can go about your business, whatever your business is, and kick ass at whatever you're doing, and you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat because you have it.
Yep.
Just like when I get up in the morning.
I plan out, like, sometime over the weekend, I will plan out just about every bite of food that I'm going to eat for the week. Now, that might change, you know, baseball game or, you know, whatever, something might come up and change it. But it's easier to make adjustments when you have a game plan rather than trying to just figure it out as you go. But I'm a little obsessive. So, like, I take everything to the extreme. So I'm not saying that you have to do that to be successful, but that's just, I've kind of developed my own theory on being successful. There's a school of thought of change the way that you operate to be successful. But in my opinion, I just learn how I operate best and use that to my advantage. Like, rather than trying to quit obsessing over everything, I'm just going to fully obsess over whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish and use that as an advantage.
Yeah, it's like going in on your strengths.
Right, exactly.
Right? Yeah, yep. I agree with that. And going back to Gary Vee, something that he said a long time ago that helps me with this project is just basically do you and let the universe come to you.
Yep.
Because it's easy to be me. I don't have to change anything. Right? So that's what I like. That's what I like about it. And oh, speaking of that, you fucker. God's bitching about you the other day, walking around the lake in the rain. Like, fucking Harvey.
Oh. Hey, rain, snow, sleet. I'm like the post office, except I actually do what I say I'm going to do.
Oh, snap. It just works really good. Now I've added a 30-pound pack.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I have a backpack that looks like a military backpack, but it used to be our son's diaper bag. So it looks like a tactical bag.
Right.
And I put 30 pounds worth of sandbags in the back of it.
Nice.
And I haul that around. I went around today, and it was a beautiful day today. But a couple days ago, it was pouring fucking rain, dude. And I should have took a picture and tagged you, and it'd be like, this motherfucker. Yeah. But it feels amazing, right?
It does. Like, I hate it. I like today. It was really nice here today too, and there's people just all over the place, and I'm like, man, it's so much better when there's nobody out here.
When it's cold and rainy and
yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm in Northeast Oklahoma, just outside of Tulsa. Yeah.
For some reason I thought you were in like Southern California or something.
Nope.
I don't know why that was. You guys get pretty cold down there then?
It will get cold for a few days, but it usually rebounds pretty quickly. This winter was probably one of the coldest ones we've had in a while, as far as like we have a week of, maybe not a full week, but 4 to 5 days where it wouldn't get above freezing. And then by the next week, it's, in the 50s and 60s. So I think we had that happen 3-4 times or so this winter, which is rare. Usually it's like once a winter, we'll have that really hard cold snap. But for the most part, it's kind of averages 45, 50 degrees, I'd say.
Is there a drastic change in the temperature during the night, during the day, even in the summertime for you guys?
No, in the summertime it's hot all the time. Like when it's hot, like at night, you go outside, it'll be at midnight, it'll be 80, 85 degrees. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah.
No, I gotta have it a little chilly.
It's not not near as bad now as it was when I weighed 350 pounds. I'll say that.
I've dropped about 25 pounds, and my tolerance for the cold has decreased.
Yep.
Like we don't have to keep it as cold in the bedroom for me to be comfortable.
Yep.
And we got more meat, obviously. Got a freezer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in, the beef comes in a pound, roughly a pound package, right? Frozen. And I threw 25 of them in a cooler, and I went, dude, just to put a visual to that.
Yeah.
Is that insane?
Yep.
Isn't that insane? I was like, where did that go?
Right.
Yeah.
It was. Where was it when it was on your body?
Yeah, because look how much room it takes up here. It didn't take much room where it was, But yeah, nuts, right? When you put a visual to it. So I've weight part of it. I've plateaued, and I've increased just a little bit, but my muscle mass has increased. So I just assume it's muscle density that's put the weight on. Because the strength in the gym is amazing, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but as you lose weight, so your body works at a certain level when you weigh 200 pounds, right?
Right.
Well, if you lose 20 pounds, your body doesn't have to work as hard to keep you alive. So your maintenance calories are going to be naturally reduced. So where you were in a deficit at 200 pounds, whatever your deficit, let's say 2,000 calories, you eat, your maintenance is 2,500. So you eat 2,000 calories. Well, you lose weight at 200 pounds. Well, then at 180, now your maintenance is 2,200 calories. And I'm just throwing out random numbers, really.
Sure.
It's not exactly all, but so for your body to keep you alive at 180 pounds, it only has to burn 2,200 calories. So that 2,000, where you in a deficit at 2,000 calories, now you're closer to your maintenance. So you're not going to lose weight. You're just going to stay about the same. And I don't know if that's the case for you. I'm just saying that's what happens to a lot of times.
So are you saying that that's the plateau syndrome that people talk? Is that like to define where I plateaued?
Yep.
No shit. Now, would that describe, or would that come into play that I can't eat as much as I used to?
For sure.
So same basis, right?
You're right. Right. Yeah. So if you're 2,500 calorie maintenance and you eat at 2,500 calories and you stay the same, which is kind of counterintuitive to this conversation, but if you're 2,500 calorie maintenance at 200 pounds and you drop down to 180, your body doesn't have to burn as many calories for you to live. And the most of calories that you burn in a day is just keeping you from not dying.
Right.
So 70 or 80% of the calories that you burn is keeping your heart beating, keeping your blood flowing, breathing, all that stuff is just keeping you from not dying. Well, if you're 200 pounds, it takes so much energy for you to walk to the car. When you're 180 pounds, it doesn't take as much energy to walk. That's why adding that 30-pound ruck to your back when you walk is going to make it to where like you were walking when you weighed 200 pounds. That's why it burns a little bit more calories.
Man, never even thought of that. That's actually pretty cool to know that. Now, I read in a book. I listened to a book. I didn't read it. I'm an audiobook. I'm on the road, dude. I'm an audiobook guy.
Yeah, for sure.
The guy said, so like if you walked up the stairs of the Empire State Building, most of your calories are going to be burned through your respiratory system.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, well, my legs are on fire. Yeah, because your respiratory system is working its ass off trying to get blood to those muscles.
Right.
And it was just cool to hear that. And like what you just said, that is really neat to like actually hear it and understand it. Like you hear people talk about it and you're like calorie deficit and you should do this and you should do that. But to actually break it down into some numbers and be like, hey, it doesn't have to work so hard to get your ass up the stairs,
Right.
There's the bubble thing again. I don't know why it does
that.
yeah, exactly. I don't know why it does that, but that's pretty neat. And just what is your thought on people? This is a pet peeve of mine. And we'll talk about my conclusion. I believe, like people say to me, what's the best exercise to do in the gym? I said the 5 core exercises. And they're like, what's that? Obviously, bench, pull-ups, push-ups, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And they come up with these fancy things that these influencers are talking about.
Yeah.
And my comeback is, I remember this old guy I used to live next to in the apartment building. I come home one day and he goes, what'd you do today? I said, deadlifts and overhead presses. He's like, Jesus, and you look like that? I was just covered in sweat. I go, yeah. And if you work out at it, if you work at it, it'll bust you up. He goes, why do you do that? He goes, my instructor says that we don't need to do that anymore. I go, what do you do? He goes, a HIIT class. And I said, okay. Well, first of all, you're 70 fucking years old. And I think that's amazing that you're going to the HIIT class.
Right.
Let's just put that on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you can't take away 200,000 years, whatever you believe in, 200,000 years of evolution of a human body. We're made to pick things up and put things over our head and carry things. Right. I said, just keep it simple, but it's repetition. Going back to what you said about meal prep. You just take these things and you do them over and over and over and over. Yeah, it's boring. But most of the shit that's effective and will do you good is not sexy.
Right.
It's
like Hermosi says, boring will make you rich. People get a skill, not perfected, but they get it down where it's comfortable and they think, oh, I have to do something else. Like, no, double down on what's getting you success. Like I have done the same push-pull legs routine for over a year now. Mm-hmm. I just recently switched because I've got a kickboxing match coming up in May.
Ooh,
so I'm doing
nice.
I'm doing some, a 3-day a week resistance training and then 3 days a week cardio. But it was push-pull legs on a 3-day cycle for over a year. And you get stronger every time if you do it right. Like there's no need to adjust it. The bench press, the only thing I have a problem with is it's hard on your shoulders because it doesn't let you. I prefer like a dumbbell bench press.
Sure, because
you get a better motion. With I see the people that are in there they're swinging the kettlebell around, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
they're doing side bends with the weights, and I'm like, yeah, and the don't get me started on CrossFit and the high intensity. It's great. It's a great healthy exercise. Like whatever it takes to get someone to doing healthy activities,
I'm all for it.
But to build muscle and build strength, you have to progressively overload. And if you are constantly switching routines every 4 to 6 weeks, how do you know if you're getting stronger if you're starting over at 0 all the time?
Yeah, but Harvey, that's boring. We have to switch it up every couple of weeks, man, because I just don't want to do going back to what you said. Yeah, exactly. What you were saying about the leg routine, I'll do 150 to 200 push because I can't get under a bench press anymore. I just won't do it.
Right.
With my spinal cord injury, and I don't get under any bar. The only thing I do is some overhead presses, but I'll do some snatch and cleans, but with the safety bar in the rack. I don't do them off the ground.
Right.
But the guy's like, I just see you doing push-ups all the time. I'm like, yeah, and and then he'll give me shit about my shoulders, and I'm like, well, you just said you see me doing push-ups all the time. What the fuck you think they come from, dude? He's like, that's boring. You got to try this and this. I go, nah, you do that, dude. I'm good.
Right. Yeah. I keep it simple, stupid. Like anytime that you try and introduce something that's off of your routine, it's going to make it harder to stay consistent with because you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to learn. Everybody's so incredibly busy with all the crap that everybody's got going on in their lives. Why do you want to try and overcomplicate the stuff that you can make extremely simple? Prep your meals, track your food, and pick a workout routine that you can do from now to the end of time. until they don't make weights big enough for you. Now, I'll make some slight modifications to hit a muscle group a different way. Or like I try to squat, but I'm learning that I probably have a herniated disc, and
Yeah, I'd stay away from that.
like, it's not worth it. I'll do some leg press. I'll do, leg extensions and leg curls and stuff like that. But, pick stuff that doesn't hurt you, and you don't even really have to go super heavy weight. If you will focus on individual muscle, because a lot of times I see people, that's another thing. I see people in the gym like doing a lat pull down, and they'll come all the way up off their ass and they'll sink back down and pull the weight down. And they'll come up off their ass and they'll sink back down. And I'm like,
what are you doing?
The purpose of the workout. Pick a weight that the only thing that you are isolating is your back muscles.
Yeah.
Contract at the bottom and hold it all the way up. Mm-hmm. Pull it down and contract at the bottom. Like curls. Curls are the worst. Holy crap.
Dude, don't even get me started.
They'll grab 60-pound dumbbells and they'll sling them up. And they'll sling them up. And I'm like, you're not getting anything out of this. Go down to a 30 that you can go all the way up and all the way down in a controlled motion, and your muscle will grow.
Yeah, but Harvey, dude, you look like a wimp if you're doing 30.
I know. But when I'm doing it next to you and you look like that, and I've got veins busting all up and down my arms and across my chest, I'm going to do it the way that I've been doing it.
Yeah, 100%. You know, a fun bicep exercise, you got to try it, dude. Let me know. I learned it a long time ago. Out in Colorado, I was bouncing and stuff, and they're military guys, so I used to work out with some of these military guys. And two exercises that three actually, that I got from these guys. One was you take a bar, 45-pound bar, like in a squat rack. It's empty, or you can add weight, but there's no need to add weight. So you get in a comfortable curling position, and as you curl up, you give it everything in your ass to try to bend that bar in half.
So you're trying to curl it like this way?
Yeah, you're trying to bend it like in a U. So as you're curling it up, you're trying to bend it like to your head.
Okay.
Of course, you're never going to do that, right?
Right.
But, dude, you want a bicep workout? Fuck. If you do that 3 times correctly, you won't be able to do any more.
Huh.
Because people are like, I can do it 5 or 6 times. I go, you're not doing it intensely enough.
Right.
That's the thing. As you're coming up, you start right, it's laying against your legs. You're standing up, it's laying against your legs. As soon as you start to go to pick that thing up, you're doing everything you can to bend it in half. And then by the time you get up here, you're trying to bend it around your face. Dude. Right. Oh, bro.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about veins popping and stuff, my shoulders and through my bicep, my forearms, they're as thick as ropes coming out at that point, because I'm just like, and my foot's tapping on the ground, and I'm going, and people are looking at me, and I'm like, it don't matter, dude. And then another one, same bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have it, you're holding it like a spear, but it's balanced.
Right.
And you squat down just a little bit, and you throw it up as hard as you can into a stance, right? So now it's over your head. And then what you do is you bring it behind your head like you're sheathing a sword. Okay. Now this is the 45-pound bar.
Right.
And then you pick it up, and then you bring it in front of your face like a knight would hold a sword.
Mm-hmm.
And you hold it a few inches off the floor for as long as you can, and maybe 6 inches away from your chest.
Right.
I learned that 20 years ago, and a guy goes, you do this, it'll bulletproof your shoulders. Knock on wood, I've not had a shoulder injury.
Huh.
And I do that once a week. I do that exercise once a week.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. People are like, you should see the looks you get, dude, by the way. They're like, what the fuck is this guy doing with a bar?
Right.
But it's you got to have some strength in your shoulders and your back, and I'm a big fan of single weight on a side, just because you gotta control it, right?
Right.
So, and then the other one is I'll put 45 and 35 on each side is what my country boy math. Geez, 80 pounds. So 160, 205 overhead press, and then I'll march in place for a minute.
Okay.
And I'll bring my knees up as high as I can, holding the 240 or 200 or whatever over my head. I learned that from those guys too. And they're just like, that's just a core exercise, man.
Right.
So those are the weird exercises that I do that give me the most amount of looks. And then when I'm hammer curling 90-pound dumbbells, people are like, the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
I can move some weight on it. I can move some weight on a curl. That's the only exercise I do for vanity, bud.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah.
Got it.
Anytime I'm, which very rarely happens. That's another thing that kind of peeves me about a lot of guys on social media, though. They're constantly like, I didn't feel like being in the gym today, but I went anyways. And I'm like, how many times are you going to come on here and keep saying that you don't feel like going to the gym, but you go, like, I get it. I don't always feel like going to the gym, but pretty much always.
Yeah. Most of the time.
Yeah, I'm ready to get in there and get to work. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, one of my quotes I give Purcell credit for years ago. I heard it. Nobody ever left the gym saying, "Fuck, I wish I didn't do that."
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the same way, and even really like that. The walk that I do every day at lunch, I don't want to say it's a total waste of my time, but I don't get a whole lot out of it. It's really more of a posting thing than anything. But when I get done with it, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I got that out of the way. Because it's not really taxing, which is the whole point of it. It's not supposed to be a taxing activity. It's supposed to be something that people. And the reason I started doing that was like I'm so far from where I was when I started, and so much of the stuff that I show on social media is where I'm at now, in the gym every day, tracking my food down to the nth degree on calories. Like because I can't show what I'm not doing, right? So I was like, okay, how did I get started? Well, I got started by just going to the gym and getting on the elliptical, 30 minutes a day, which is equivalent of walking. I'm already getting 12 to 14,000 steps in a day. I was like, well, I'll just start posting that and help make a better connection with people at where they are at the start of their journey, or maybe having started their journey. Right. It kind of helps bridge that gap of like, okay, I'm showing you where I started, and you can also see where I'm at now, where if you will start these habits, you can get this result if you will stick to it long enough.
Well, instead of one of those influencers is completely shredded, they're like, let me help you get this way. And it's like,
yeah.
You're 25 years. You're 25 years old, and your metabolism's running at red line. Come on, dude.
Yeah, and I've worked with people, different coaches that had massive benefits to me losing the weight that I have, that they weren't fat at any point. But where I connect with people is more on the mental side, more on the self-talk. When I can see the look on their face, like I'll see people in the gym that I know that they're just getting started, and I can tell every thought that they've got in their mind the second I see their face.
Yeah,
it's just more relatable.
Yeah, and that's why I try to keep a fun environment in the gym. And not too long ago, there was this little skinny kid, and he was just fucking working it, dude. And you could tell he was working it. And he got done, and he was excited about his set. And I just went over, never even took my headphones off. I just held out my fist, and I was like, killer set, bro. And I never even saw his face. I just walked away. It's like
Right.
having somebody come up to you, you know, in the past, I've had monsters come up to me and they're like, damn, dude, you work out hard.
Right.
And all that does is go, fuck, you think that was hard?
Right.
You know, that's my personality, dude. You know, when somebody gives me a compliment, I'm like, fuck you. You think that was good? Let me show you. But
Yeah,
I agree. Go ahead.
I'm always walking by guys, you know, fist bumping them that I can tell that they're not comfortable. They're just trying to get started. And I don't even say anything. I can just walk by, fist bump. I might say, hey, man, I'm proud of you. Like, it's just because, you know, like we was talking about earlier, where life's a mirror, not a window, and you think people are judging you. Nobody in the gym is looking at you. Like, and I know that's a very hard thought to rationalize because you're judging yourself and you're this, you know, big fat guy in the gym and you just feel like all eyes are on you. They're really not.
Nobody's looking at you.
I know that's a much easier said than understood thing, but you know, anything that you can do, just a quick little, hey man, I'm proud of you. Hey, nice to see you. Hey, keep going. Just anything to keep them coming back. Like we owe that to them.
100%. And then just a little nod, you know, a guy just
Right.
busts out a set and he looks up and you make eye contact and you're just like,
Yeah, just some sort of acknowledgement.
yeah, dude, the only thing people are looking at is that fucking pair of yoga pants that's running around. Nobody's looking at the big fat dude, man. No. They're looking.
No.
That's the other thing. Do you see that? What's his name? Joey Swall?
I've seen some of his stuff.
You know, I don't know how much of that is like set up, but I think about that with some of the ladies in the gym. Like, because the way they dress and then they get mad at you and it's like, come on, dude, come on, man. You know,
Right.
When I was in the bar business, you know, these women would come to the front door and I'd do this. I'd look I'd stare right down their shirt. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, you got them hanging out for one, and then you fucking bedazzle them. You put jewelry all over them. What do you think I'm going to do? You know, she's like, well, don't look at it. Go fucking bedazzle them. Then nobody will look at it. You know, so I used to call that shit out all the time because it's like, come on, man. You know, but I agree with you, man. I think it boils down to each category: movement, food, all that. You got to find something that you're comfortable with because, like you said a couple times, if you're comfortable with it and it works for you, you're going to stick to it.
Yep.
You don't compare yourself to me or you at the gym. No, we're on a different path, dude. You know, you might be in chapter 2. I'm on chapter 26. So you can't compare the two. Right. So just worry about you, man. Just move. Just fucking move, as I tell people.
Exactly. That's what like a lot of people think that they don't know enough to get started, or they think they need to figure out one more thing to get going, or whatever it is. And it's like, learn as you go. I think that's one of the biggest, another thing we talked about, like using your skill, the way that you function as a skill set. I am not a very creative thinking person. Like, I don't think outside the box. But if someone gives me a blueprint, a plan, a step-by-step guide, I will execute it flawlessly.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like, I'm extremely coachable. Like, it's I don't overanalyze. Like, I don't sit there and ask, well, why am I lifting like this? It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the person that looks the way that you want to look is telling you how to do it. Just do it. Well, once you start to get it figured out, if you want to go back and learn how to do it, that's cool. But don't let not knowing the why keep you from actually doing the thing that you want to do.
Well, that's analysis paralysis, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other thing on that is there's so much garbage out there in this type of industry. Sure. Oh my God, dude. And you're a perfect example of somebody you can take advice from or talk to because you did it.
Yeah.
Right? You're not 24, completely shredded, and you're like, yeah, you should lift this way.
Yeah.
When I was 24, it didn't matter what I'd lift, my muscles would grow. So
Exactly.
you know, it doesn't fucking matter.
It's funny. You see, they'll get on their reels, and we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Why are you wasting yours? Like, you still live with your mommy. Shut up. And like, come back to me when you've got a wife and a kid that is into 9 million different activities, and you're working 50, 60 hours a week, and you've got mortgages due, and you've got, hospital bills due, and all, like, you've got actual life.
No,
come back to me and then tell me that we have the same 24 hours. Not that you can use that as an excuse to not get what you need to get done, but you have no ability to sit there when you sleep till 9 o'clock, and then you go down, go upstairs to the kitchen and have a bowl of, Fruit Loops, and then you go to the gym, and then you come back and play video games the rest of the day. Like, we don't have the same 24 hours in a day.
No. Guy goes, hey man, if you need caffeine to, lift, you shouldn't be lifting. And I said, well, once you become a parent, you'll completely understand where caffeine comes from. So do you have a kid? No, shut the fuck up then. And all right, moving on to the next subject. But going what you said though, it just boils, you don't, there is 24 hours in a day. And years ago, young kid, I was in a business meeting. We're at the cigar shop. Oh man, it's been forever since I said this story. And I was a couple years into business, and so was a friend of mine. And we were about the same age. We had to be mid-30s, late 30s. This kid was 22. And in the cigar shop, when you order dinner, they give you a free cigar and a free draft beer, right? There's kind of a thing. So I'm like, this is what I want for dinner. And she goes, cigar? I go, whatever you got on draft and whatever cigar you're giving away, that's cool. And my buddy said the same thing. And this young kid orders a dinner, and she's like, cigar. And he's like, name some cigar. And she's like, okay. She goes, what to drink? And he's like, he ordered some mixed drink, and he's like, top shelf only. And we're like, okay, dude, whatever. You're paying a bill. I don't give a fuck, And he made some comment. He got all snarky because our cigars came and we're smoking. And he got all snarky, and he goes, just top for my whole life. Moving forward, no matter what, everything's top shelf, and that's just the way I'm going to live my life. And I go, good luck, buddy. I said, wait till life comes around the corner, throws a rope around your ankles, and drags you 55 miles an hour down the road, and you hit a curve, and you get dragged through a mud puddle, and you get divorced, and you might have some kind of drug or alcohol addiction. You might have some kids from the first wife, and and I was just naming shit, right? Just normal life stuff, right?
Right.
He's like, that ain't gonna happen to me. I'm like, okay, well, cool. I'm glad you have that attitude. He reached out to me like 2 weeks ago, messaged me because he saw one of my posts, and we went back and forth for a little bit. On his third marriage, two kids from two different women, working some fucking weird, some normal job, nothing. Right. He's working, so I can't, you can't. But he doesn't have some C-suite job that he said he's always going to have, and I'm like, yeah, I should recall that story I told you about when life comes around, how you handle it,
Yeah. Well, so judging by the age difference, he was probably of the generation that's mine that was given 8th place trophies and told that they can do anything that they want to do, and which is true. You can do anything you want to do, but they seem to have missed one key aspect of that. You can do anything you want to do is if you put in the work to get it.
No, of course.
They were all, everyone's special and everyone's going to do great things and blah, 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 which again, we went from, my parents' generation of very harsh, very strict, very stringent, to the complete opposite end of very nurturing and very loving and very caring, and there was not much discipline and not much earned. And it's like, can we find a balance somewhere in between where, yes, you are special, you are capable of achieving greatness, but you have to play by these rules if you want to achieve that success. Mm-hmm. There are certain things in life that you are going to have to do that you don't want to do if you want to get the thing that you want to get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I call it the 80-20. 80% of the time I'm doing exactly what I want to do. 20% of the time I'm doing everything I have to do to get back to the 80%. Because you know that you got to do these things. You have to get done.
Right.
And it's like when I tripped my son before we started. No, dude, you can't win all the time. I ain't letting you fucking win just to pump your ego. No, dude, earn it. Yeah. People laugh all the time. I'm like, oh, dude's got to earn it. I ain't fucking giving you nothing, dude. They're like, he's 4. I'm like, yeah, but now's the time to instill it in him. So when he's 7, he's like, I understand it. I got to earn it. Yeah.
Right.
But
I said my job was busting up rocks with a sledgehammer, because my dad said, hey, I got a roof over your head and food in the kitchen. Anything above that, that's on you.
Yep.
And it was go work at a farm and ranch store making $7 an hour, or go bust rocks for $15 an hour. I'll go bust rocks. Make twice as much money.
Yeah, for sure. Was it in a quarry or something?
The people that I was working for, they built like custom houses, and they used the rocks. We break them up in about football size.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. Use the rocks as the frame, or not framing necessarily, but like the exterior of the house.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Yeah.
I had a buddy, Luke, and we went up in he had a cabin with no amenities in it in the Adirondack Mountains. Mm-hmm. And he got us hooked up with a job one summer. And it was this company building log homes. And then what we had to do was straddle the logs and had the curved blade, and you'd slide down the log and strip all the bark off it. Yeah, $250 a week we earned for doing that shit, dude.
Right.
Yeah. Then we go blow it every night. Yeah, of course. But yeah, those are fun. That shit's fun, dude. And then we lived in a cabin with no amenities. We had to get water out of the lake and shit.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. I just I posted something the other day, and I had a picture of. How old are you?
36.
Do you remember back in you were talking generational gaps? So I don't know if you know. Back in middle school, you had field days, and you had to compete with. Yeah. And then you got these.
I know elementary school we did, but I think after elementary school, I don't remember having those.
Okay.
But yeah.
And you had them cheap little ribbons, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place. And I posted something, and it said, kids nowadays have no idea how hard we work to earn one of these little cheap, And I added to it, I'm like, it was complete carnage. It was complete carnage. It was like, I have the ability to beat your ass, and I'm going to ribbon for it. You're damn right. But that sense is not. I don't know, and it just, I beat up my son all the time. I'll punch him and knock him over, and we race to the door, and he tries pushing me away from the door, and I push him away, and I don't know. I just want to build a sense of competitiveness in him.
Competition is demonized, and even like Gary Vee talks about all the time, is failure is seen as such a negative. You've got to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win.
You're going to lose so much more than you. I've lost so much more than I won.
Yeah. Well, I was talking. My son, he's in baseball right now, and he was getting frustrated, having a hard time hitting. And I said, dude, do you know what happens to a Major League Baseball player that fails 7 out of 10 times at the plate? They make it to the Hall of Fame.
I love that. I didn't expect that one. Yeah.
A 300 career hitter goes to the Hall of Fame in baseball. So he fails 7 out of 10 times that he goes up to the plate.
Jesus, that's a hell of a way to put it.
So, I mean, you learn not to like it, but you learn to accept that it's going to happen, and how can you minimize it from happening the next time?
Well, in poker and tournament play, not cash games, in tournament play, the variance is 70%. You're going to lose 70% of the time.
Right.
But that 30% is big.
Yeah,
You know?
right. For sure.
Yeah, and it carries you through the 70%, you know? Yeah, wow. The baseball one. I never got into baseball, so like I didn't even know till what you just said. I didn't even know where 300 came from. I was like, it was never a priority for me to learn that, you know. Now going to a baseball game, fuck, a good time right there, just to watch and the atmosphere and stuff, you know.
Have you guys seen the Savannah Bananas?
The fuck is that?
So it's a minor league team out of Savannah, Georgia, Savannah, South Carolina, one of the two, and it's almost like Harlem Globetrotters on the baseball field. No
shit! Oh, that would be fun.
Like they do choreographed dances, and they travel. They initially, it's been 4 or 5 years. There's a ESPN 30 for 30 about them, about how they got started.
Those are so good. Those 30 for 30s.
Oh yeah. That's probably one of the best thing ESPN's ever done is those 30 for 30s.
Well, Netflix did the. What's that sports one they did? I think it's on Netflix.
I know there are some 30 for 30s on Netflix as well. Like the
it was like the guy that The Sopranos was based upon.
Oh, yeah.
That was the garbage guy that bought his son a hockey team.
Yeah, we watched that.
What the hell's that called? It's one word. Anyway, those are really good too.
Yeah.
But those remind me of the 30 for 30s.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they had the same vibe.
Yeah, but so they started off just playing there in Savannah, and they got super popular. So then there's a team, the Bananas themselves, and then the team that they always play against they're like the Rock Stars or something. It's almost like a WWE face versus heel type thing. Like the other team's the bad guys, and they got some crazy rules, and it's very engaging. But like that, so they've started traveling the country and playing in other minor league stadiums and maybe even some major league stadiums now. But yeah, if they come to your area now, as far as trying to get tickets, they usually sell out pretty quick. But I would keep an eye out for them because your son would love it. It's
I can Google it and see if they're coming and stuff and playing for it. Yeah, one thing
they'll do TikTok dances from the mound, like the whole infield and outfield's doing the dance along with the pitcher, and he'll just randomly throw a pitch, and it's very entertaining.
That's fun. Yeah, definitely. He loves a baseball game, and we took him to his first hockey game.
Okay.
The Devils. Through my wife's work, she's got all sorts of connections, so we end up in the suite, you know,
nice.
At Prudential Center with the New Jersey Devils, and he just full throttle, dude, the whole time. When the opening ceremony started, it goes dark, and then like the bass hits and the lasers go. Like he shrunk in my lap, but then as soon as it started going, fuck, dude, he was full. He was red line till the end. Yeah. I'm like, time to go. And of course, before we pull out of the parking lot, wore him right out. But yeah, he's in gymnastics now, swim class. He wants to do the soccer, and then I want to get him. Both my wife and I know the benefits of martial arts, so he'll be in some kind of martial art. It's tough at that young age, but I want him to get used to putting on a uniform and getting yelled at by a coach. I mean, he's got 3-4 different coaches now, and he respects them and stuff. Because I'm like, like today at swim class, we walk in, and he said something. I go, "Hey, my room, dude." I have nothing to say here. You got to ask her. You know? And like tonight, when we got home, I have a lady babysitting because my wife had a vent thing. So I got a babysitter for him to hang out with you. And he asked me something when we got home, and I said, "Nah, dude, ain't me anymore. You got to ask her." You know, I just think being yelled at and being coached and being taught by other people is just invaluable. You know, I want somebody else
to respect authority is something that it seems to be the cool thing now, to be as disrespectful as you can to authority. I don't know where that comes from.
Lack of parenting is what it comes from.
Yeah, that's for sure. Dude,
I'll beat his ass, dude. He ever does that. Yeah, he don't stand.
My son, this was his second year wrestling, and he got an award from the coach last week before last, and it was basically a sportsman of the year type award.
Nice.
It was anytime something's asked of him, it's always yes. Anytime, you know, he would go up in weight class or go down in weight class, he would work with anybody. Just basically a personal achievement that was off the mat type award.
Yeah, because what you do on the mat's extremely minimum compared to what you do off the mat. You know,
right? And that type of stuff means I could care less if he ever wins a match like that. That doesn't matter to me. It's that type of stuff that like lets you know that you're raising a good kid when they get recognized like that.
That and those are right. I mean, that's what you want as a dad. You know, be proud of that. But also, those are lessons that, of course, if he wins, it feels good. But how temporary is that feeling, right?
Right.
And then, but all this other stuff that he's doing, that's a shit you're going to carry through life.
Yep, exactly.
You know, it's going to make you a good dude, you know? Yep. But we're going to get out of here, bro.
Awesome.
I could sit here and talk to you till Sunday, but
I will say that flew by.
Yeah. I looked up and I went, fuck, an hour and a half. Take the mic for a minute. Let everybody know what you want out of them.
Just become the best version of yourself. That's all I ask. Just get 1% better every single day. If I can help anybody with that along the way, find me on Instagram. It's Harvey, HARVEY _A_Irwin, ERWIN. Facebook's Harvey Irwin. So I'm pretty non-common name, so pretty easy to find. And I'm willing to pour into anyone the same amount that they're willing to pour into themselves to make changes to their lives.
And the notes or the links will be in the show notes, of course. And what I'd like to say, since we've been talking about the gym and stuff, is as long as you're pushing or pulling the sled, I'll push and pull with you. As soon as stop, I stop. I ain't doing it for you. Yep. I'll help you. No problem. As long as you're putting in the work.
Yep, exactly.
All right, buddy. Hang tight for a second, all right?
As you can see, Harvey and I agree that you just got to fucking move if you want to get something done. And forget the analysis paralysis, right? A good place to start is having a conversation with Harvey. I bet you he would love to hear from you. Link is in the show notes. Just give him a ton of shit for me when you talk to him, all right? All right, man, I'm going to get you out of here because I know you all got a bunch of shit you got to get done. But don't forget, Live Rishi, High Speed Daddy, and check it out my website with all the shit I got going on, all right? Keep kicking ass. Until next time.
You out there? You listening?